Greetings everybody, coming to you from my 2012 Mercedes-Benz S350 Bluetec diesel. We are at 115,359 miles at the moment. I'm not sure when I did the last update on this, but the short version is it has been completely trouble-free. The last time I had it at the dealer was at 101,000, and that was to fix an oil leak, which they replaced the oil cooler, which was the second one for this car. So the purple seals allegedly don't last indefinitely like some people think they may. They went about 70,000 in this car. However, the pattern of oil still leaking looks identical to the pattern of oil that was leaking when I took it into the shop. So I suspect there's a chance that the oil cooler was not leaking. But they do claim that they stuck a scope up in the V of the engine and saw it leaking. So I mean, I have to go with that. But after driving, I don't know, several thousand miles after that, and I noticed there was still a leak developing. Now it's very insignificant in that it took like 10,000 miles of driving for it to actually start getting under the car again. So I wiped it up, and I took the underbody pan under there and I wiped it up, and driven a couple thousand miles since then, and I don't see a significant amount. So the oil leak is so minor that in 11,000 miles between normal consumption and the leaking, it only took 1 liter of oil to top it up. So I'm coming up on the time when I'm going to be doing an oil change here, probably within the next couple weeks, I think. It'll be right at about 13,000 miles. So before you have a meltdown, the last oil change I did was at 10,000, and I always send the oil off to Blackstone for analysis. So at 10,000, they told me the oil still had a lot of life left in it. They actually even recommended that I bump it up to 11,000. And I know they're a bit conservative. So additionally, I did add a liter at the 11,000 mark, and then anytime you add a liter of oil or a quart, the German oil that I use comes in liters. It's like partially changing your oil, so it kind of reduces or increases the oil change interval whenever you add a quart or liter or whatever. So that's how I kind of landed on 13 as my next baseline, and I of course plan on sampling and sending the oil to Blackstone. Now, when I had my cruise diesel, which I bought brand new and put over 200,000 miles on, with the type of driving I did, I went as high as 17,000 and sent that to Blackstone, and that was getting toward the end of the life of the oil. It still had room to go, so I backed that down to, I did 14,000 mile oil change intervals in that car, and even after 200,000 miles, it still drove brand new. Not a hint of sludge or anything when you would look down into into the engine through the oil cap. Perfectly clean and just beautiful. This engine looks the same. Now, I didn't get this car until it had 92,000 miles on it, so but it did have regular oil changes, not always with the right oil. I've mentioned that in some of my earlier videos, but and one really great thing about this one is that I still have the AEM warranty for another year and more miles than I will put on it. I think it's good to like 136, so another 20,000 miles. And that warranty replaced a few things on my GLK Bluetec, which would have been pretty expensive if I didn't have that warranty. That's a whole other topic, but talking about this car. So really the only issue I've had since this has been in the shop at 101 was, and still exists, the sunroof sometimes doesn't work, and I think it's a computer glitch, because most of the time it does, and a lot of times if it's not working, if I get out of the car, shut it off, close the door, and then get back in, then it'll start working again. So there's something a little strange in the computers as it relates to the sunroof. So but for the most part it does work. Other than that, this thing has just really surprised me with how reliable it's been. It just keeps going and going and going and going. All the electronics have been working. The HVAC has been working. Just such an amazing car. Really such an amazing car to drive. Now, I know a lot of these W221s can tend to have problems, and this one has had its share. Like in my first 6 months to a year of owning this car, I did have to catch up on some deferred maintenance that the prior owner did not address, and I've done videos about that previously if you were interested and wanted to check them out. But yeah, I mean, the current state of this car is, it's just completely reliable, and it's going to be interesting to see how it does over time. I have been consistently able to get about 700 miles of fuel per tank, sometimes more depending on the driving. My overall for the last 16,000 miles is 30.3. That has popped up to 30.7 a couple times, but definitely averaging over 30 miles per gallon. And I have checked that with manual calculation as well, and it does come out to be pretty accurate compared to what you see on the screen. Maybe plus or minus one either way, but yeah, I definitely see that as reliable. So I kind of go by the miles and what I think I'm averaging on the tank, and you can go on the fuel gauge to where it's down below the last mark. I'm actually on my way right now to the gas station to fill it up. Now, one cool thing about a diesel is that after the nozzle clicks off, now it varies from car to car how much more you can put in, but in this one, you have to pump it slowly, but you can add an extra 5 gallons after the pump clicks off. So like with where that is right now, I should be able to put in about 25 gallons, And if you're like me and you don't like refueling your car, that's basically like every 5 fuel stops, you can skip a fuel stop. And that extra 5 gallons, 5 times 5, makes it so that I don't have to refuel as frequently. And then plus, I mean, it's nice that you can go 700 miles pretty consistently on a tank. Now, I mean, again, it depends on your driving. If you do more city driving and whatnot, that might be closer to 600. And if you do more moderate highway driving, you could probably squeeze 800 out of a tank. I can't remember the most I've ever gotten on a tank, but I know it's at least 750, probably a bit more than that. But yeah, so anyway, I know there's a few of you out there who are interested in my experience with this car, so I thought it was time for an update. And again, I don't even remember when I did my last update. All right, have a great day, everyone.